So I am going to be doing a close reading of the Romeo and Juliet prologue for Act 2. And the first thing that I do before I do any type of close reading is I set a purpose for myself. So the purpose for this prologue is to find out what Act 2 is going to be about. We know from our pre-reading that a prologue kind of gives a brief overview, a preview on what the next reading is going to entail. So I'm going to use this to kind of clue me in as to what the major plot points of Act 2 are going to be. And when we read Shakespeare, we talk about how we don't need to know what every single word and every single line means. We're just looking for the gist, getting the basic picture of it here. Now, old Desire doth in his deathbed lie. So if you're lying in your deathbed, to me, you're dead, you're dying. And in this case, this old Desire, I'm going to go ahead and say that that is Romeo's affection for Rosaline. He used to have this big crush on her, and now all of a sudden she's gone because he saw Juliet, and now he's automatically in love with her. So his old desire doth in his deathbed lie could sort of translate to he has moved on, and young affection gapes to be his heir. So that line, this is, to me, this is about Juliet. Young affection, I could interpret that in one of two ways. Young, like she's young, which she is, or young affection in that their love is very new. Heir as in like it's taking over Romeo's heart now. So Juliet has now taken the place of Rosaline. That fair for which love groaned for and would die, with tender Juliet matched, is now not fair. Now, I continued on from this line to the next because I noticed there was no punctuation mark here. So it didn't make sense logically for me to stop and try and interpret this line, because without that punctuation, that's Shakespeare's way of telling me I need to continue on to this line down here, and that these two lines should be paired together. This one ended at the period, so I was able to stop after that one. So looking back on it, okay, that fair for which loved groaned for and would die, with tender Juliet matched, is now not fair. So I guess a couple ways I'm interpreting this, as in his love for Juliet is matched, as in she returns his affection. It's not fair because we know that their families are both feuding, so therefore it's not fair that they can't be together. That fair for which love groaned for and would die. Well, we know Romeo likes to groan a lot. He's a very emotional guy, so when I see that word, that's what I'm thinking. And this is telling me that, at least according to Romeo and Juliet, their love is so strong that they would die for it, which we know from Prologue 1 is going to happen. Now, Romeo is beloved and loves again. So, like we just talked about above here, Romeo loves Juliet, Juliet loves Romeo back. Alike bewitched by the charms of looks. And yes, right here, we know from reading that was the thing that drew Romeo into Juliet was her looks. So that's kind of what sucked him in there. But to his foe supposed he must complain, and she still loves sweet bait from fearful hooks. So foe, enemy, he must complain. I guess he's upset that they're enemies. And she still loves sweet bait from fearful hooks. Well, that sounds very metaphorical, but I'm just going to kind of go pretty basic surface level here. It sounds like they can't spend a lot of time together, and they are just trying to steal as much time as they can to be with each other. Being held a foe, he may not have access to breathe such vows as lovers used to swear. Okay, so again, they're enemies. He may not have access, like he has no means to see her, because if he's found hanging out around the Capulet mansion, he's going to be put to death. To breathe such vows as lovers used to swear. Well, when I hear vows and I think lovers, I'm thinking like marriage vows. So because they're enemies, they can't get married. And she as much in love, her means much less to meet her new beloved anywhere. Well, I know back from the pre-reading that we did that women at this time had much fewer rights than men, and I also know that a young unmarried noble woman like Juliet is would have no way to leave her house without being chaperoned. So to me, this is Juliet has a lot harder time sneaking out to go see Romeo because she's a girl. And in this time period, it was not okay for a noble lady to go anywhere on her own. But passion lends them power. Time means to meet, tempering extremities with extreme sweet. All right, I don't get that right off the bat, so I got to go back and look at this here. But passion lends them power. So their passion, their love, like gives them strength that lets them get over it. Time means to meet, tempering extremities with extreme sweet. This part is kind of confusing here, but I'm focusing in on this word extreme and extremities with extreme sweet. So I'm interpreting this as they might have to go to extreme circumstances to have this sweet be together, be in love, and have everything work out for them.